Hello everyone, and today's session is on a dozen mistakes of my software testing career. And I'm Ajay Balamurugadas, AVP Delivery in the organization Capital QA, Bangalore, India. And my Twitter handle is AJAY184F. So feel free to contact me about this session or about software testing in general. We could have a chat. So, when I thought about this topic, a dozen mistakes of my software testing career, I had my total experience is around 12 years. So I thought, okay, maybe for every year I can come up with one mistake. And then I set out on this exercise. And to my surprise, I came up with more than 50 mistakes. And that's when I thought, okay, here is a great opportunity for me to write a book on all the mistakes of my software testing career, or all the mistakes I could remember. And that's where I wrote the book, 50 plus mistakes of my software testing career, which we'll discuss in this session towards the end. So to start with, this dozen mistakes, right? So what are they categorized into, or what are the different categories for these mistakes? So I came up with 6 categories, or 6 buckets if you want to call it. So the first one is about self. Everything and anything related to me, my attitude, my behavior, my habits. So all the mistakes I could come up with, which were related to me, I put it under the category called self. So the next category is process. So this was not directly related to me or with any other person, but it was mainly focused on the process. So this, say a process was implemented, or process was created from scratch, and say a process was stopped midway, and how that became a mistake. So anything and everything related to process came under the process category. The next one was the management. So when I say management, say the immediate team leads, then the higher managers, the senior leaders, maybe the board of directors, the company heads, um, what kind of interactions I had with them, what mistakes I did in those interactions. So those kind of mistakes I categorized or put it under the category management, right? The next category is around communication. So when I say communication, it could be uh, oral communication, it could be my bug reports, it could be my say talks, my presentations, my say any meetups, anything to do with communication, right? Next, being a hands-on tester, a majority of mistakes came under this category, or a good chunk of my mistakes came under the category called testing. So while I was testing the product, what kind of mistakes I did did I test for the right mission? Did I set the expectations right? And many other mistakes like that, right? And then the sixth category I could think of is the team. I've worked in multiple companies, multiple projects as a solo tester. I was the only tester, right? And then there were projects where I worked in teams with, like, there was one more tester maybe, and then in some teams there were like around 150 testers. So how my actions impacted others, how their actions impacted me, how a combination of process management, uh, problems in communication, all of it affected the entire team. So those kind of mistakes came under the category team. So after I categorized all the, say, 50 plus mistakes into these 6 categories, then I thought, hey, my career is not yet over, right? I'm not done yet. I see few more years of software testing career for me. So then I don't know what kind of mistakes I'll make. right? And they might not fall in the same 6 categories. So I created one more category, but I don't know what name to give it because I don't know what kind of mistakes I'll make, right? So I put the category name as question mark. So I don't know. It's an unknown category. We'll see. Maybe after a few months or years, if I had to repeat similar presentation, I would have a name for that category, maybe, right? So this is the gist of my talk. The dozen mistakes. So as I told, the dozen became more than 50 mistakes, and where they are being categorized into, right? So now the question comes, what's so special about my 12 years that I feel like, okay, I need to share my mistakes. I need to share the 50 plus mistakes, right? So I have seen people go to office, um, I mean, get up, go to office, then come back home, then repeat the same thing again and again and again, test the same project, test the same product, be in the same project, be interact with the same team members, keep testing the similar domain products, right? And this continues for years and years, right? And then they equate the entire experience, they add up the years and say, okay, they have X number of X years of experience, right? Then I felt, okay, my 12 years is maybe very different. So what gives me the confidence to say that? So here it is. So where did I spend my 12 years? So if you look at my professional summary, I can say I spent a lot of my time in working for different kinds of companies. So the first maybe 9 years or 9.5 years, I worked for just two companies, um, two medium startup, two big companies, and then I never worked for I mean very small startup. So I went to a startup for like 2 months, and then a year, and then again 2 months. Then I was fed up of working for startups. I wanted to explore large enterprises, right? So I went to a bank. I worked in a bank for testing for them. So that was for an year. Then again, I'm back to a mid startup kind of company, which is growing rapidly. So I've experienced both the extremes. I've experienced working in teams where I was the only tester, to where there was a testing team of say 150 testers, right? So I've experienced the different scale, the both ends of that scale. I've seen releases where the product got released say once in 8 months, and I've also seen companies, I've worked in companies, I've worked in teams where we released a patch or a fix to the issues reported by the customer, a fix to the customer issues every day, right? We called it the daily dose, where we fixed the, say, a customer reported an issue. Within 24 hours, the patch was developed, tested, rolled to production across instances, and the customer was very happy, right? And I've also been in places where a customer reported an issue. We used to make a note of it, negotiate with the customer, uh, develop it for like 2-3 months, test it for like 3-4 months, and then release it after say 7 or 8 months, right? So that was in the early 2006, 2010-ish, right? So I've seen both ends of the spectrum while working for companies. And then I'm still an active freelancer. I've worked on more than 50 freelance projects, more than 500 days spent in testing across platforms like uh, Fiverr.com, Bugwolf.com, Testleo.com, Test.io. Then you also have like Bug Hunters. So multiple freelancing platforms I've worked, I've experienced different, and 99 tests, of course. I've spent a lot of time working on that platform. So I've had different kinds of experience working as a freelancer, wherein you don't have like the luxury of say a week's time or a month's time for testing and releasing. You have like hardly few hours to maybe 1 day or 2 days, and that's it. You have to learn the product, interact with the customer if there are any, and clarify your questions, file bugs, ensure that the bugs are not duplicate, some other tester has not logged the same bugs, your bug reports are clear, and you fight for your bugs, and all of it within like 48 hours, right? So that kind of experience, in addition to the company experience, has also helped me in my career. I made a few mistakes there as well. So in each of these categories, I made mistakes. So I'd like to talk about them. I would like that, okay, others maybe uh, who have not yet experienced these, maybe don't repeat the same mistakes. They can make new mistakes, of course. Then I have been at different conferences, different software testing conferences, Asia, Europe, US. I've been a speaker. I've been a facilitator for different conferences. I've reviewed technical. I've reviewed the papers submitted for that conferences. I've been a keynote speaker at CAST. I've also conducted different workshops. I've attended those workshops, and then after a few years, I've conducted them as an instructor. So being a workshop attendee versus conducting the workshop, it's a totally different experience. So that experience also I have gained. Um, so companies, freelancing, conferences, then comes the online community. Um, Software testers, I mean, there's a very big community out there, online community, on Twitter, on Slack, on Skype. People interact, they have questions, they pair up, they learn together, they discuss, they argue, even on Slack, Twitter, and then a wonderful discussion emerges out of it. So I have been part of those communities. I'm still part of those communities. I've interacted with multiple testers, and I've written 6 small books for testers. They're available for free download on my blog, enjoytesting.blogspot.com. So you can download those books. I've also conducted training sessions for software testers over Skype. So this was few years ago. Um, I conducted more than say 40 online batches and maybe 200 testers. I've trained them, and some of them have become very good testers. I've been in close touch with them. They have been in close touch with me. We still continue to discuss about testing. That gives me good satisfaction. And at the same time, I also understand how testers react, how testers learn, right? So that's about the online communities. Then comes the workshops and meetups. So as I told, I've been an attendee for multiple workshops. I've also been an instructor of multiple workshops, like say exploratory testing workshop, mobile testing workshop, Android security, accessibility testing. I've attended the problem solving leadership workshop with Jerry Weinberg, Esther Derby, conducted by them and all other participants in the 2017 batch. And I have also conducted a workshop on problem solving with Jyoti Rangaya. So I've attended multiple workshops, conducted multiple workshops for both Indian conferences and also conferences like Mobile App Europe in Potsdam, Berlin. That conference, I've also conducted a workshop on mobile testing, mobile app testing. Um, Organized multiple meetups through Test Insane, Test Maniac, at Test Insane office through Test Maniac, and also attended workshops through the Test Tribe community, Agile Testing Alliance, Step In Forum, right? Helped them facilitate, attended those meetups, all of it. Then finally, being a co-founder of Weekend Testing, I facilitated more than 120 sessions. The recent one was last Saturday, right? So, and through Weekend Testing, I've interacted with more than 200 testers each session. Even if you take an average of 5 testers, so there are like more than 200 testers I've interacted. There have been multiple sessions where testers have come back again and again. It's like a season, right? They come for a session and then they attend for like 3-4 months, and then they're gone, and then they again come back, and that too across the world. It's not just Indian testers. uh, I've I'm good friends with many testers outside India as well, whom I met first in the weekend testing, say weekend testing Europe, weekend testing America, weekend testing Australia. So this is where I feel with, say, you can say, okay, 12 years, but I don't see it as 12 years. I see it as uh, a lot of experience, a lot of varied experiences, right? So this has helped me in my career. At the same time, I have made many more mistakes than one could make in 12 years, right? Say if you had made, say, 20 mistakes, I made like 100 mistakes, right? So that's the scale I'm talking about. It's because I've tried a lot of things. I've tried writing books. I wrote books. Tried writing books, tried teaching people testing, tried attending sessions by other testing uh, uh, folks, testing leaders, tried creating testing courses, um, and then tried creating testing syllabus and stuff like that. So you name it, I might have tried it, right? Create an online contest, yeah, I've tried it. Coach multiple testers at once, yeah, tried it, right? Try to create a video for software testing, yeah, tried, right? So there are multiple things I've tried, I've failed, I've learned, and stuff like that. Um, so this is where I have spent most of my time, and so I feel that, okay, this is a good chance for me to for me to have made a lot of mistakes, and let me share that. So for all of these mistakes, what are the guiding principles, if at all I have any? So I had like 4 guiding principles for all of these mistakes. What are those? First is, no mistakes, no learning. I feel that if you have made if you have not made any mistake, that means you have not yet learned anything. You're just in your comfort zone, right? How will you know whether something will succeed or fail unless you try it? Every time you don't try, that is bound to fail. I mean, it's like the saying, every shot you don't take is definitely not going to hit the target, right? You might take up the task of hitting the target and then miss. That is different, rather than saying, okay, I'm not going to throw. When you decide you're not going to throw, definitely you're not going to aim the target. It's as simple as that. So I believe in that. So I believe that, okay, if you don't experiment, you will never discover. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? The next is cost versus risk. Now people might attend this session and then say, okay, Ajay told you should experiment, let's go ahead, delete some data on our production server. Yeah, we'll see if that mistake is costly or not. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, if the mistake seems to be a risky mistake, ask permission beforehand. If you are not sure if the uh, risk or the cost of the mistake is very high or too low, if you are not sure, if you are not able to categorize it, ask permission. If you for sure know that, okay, this mistake is not so costly, or this mistake will not cost us so much, this mistake is not so risky, then I'm saying, okay, go ahead and try. But if you are not sure, take permission. But if there's a non-risky, do it first and then you discuss, right? Then you discuss why there even existed an opportunity for someone to do this mistake, right? So that will be a good discussion later on, provided it's not high risk or high cost mistake, right? Then the next one is, nothing is impossible. I believe that. I strongly believe that. Um, I felt that I should give a keynote speech. Yeah, I did that. Sometimes it felt that, okay, it's just impossible that I would give a keynote speech, keynote talk before 20 years of my experience. No, yeah, it felt like that. It felt impossible. But then most of the limits are set in our own mind. So it is up to us to break those and work on our skills and then just achieve the goals, right? So nothing is impossible. Everything is, most of the limits are set in our mind. The last mistake or the last guiding principle is make new mistakes. No, don't make the same mistakes. A, it's boring. B, you're not learning anything if you're repeating the same. It's like if you keep doing the same things, you're bound to get the same result, right? Unless you change something in your approach, how will you get a different result? Even in testing, there should be a very valid reason for you to repeat tests, or else why would you repeat tests? Say you do A, B, C, you get the bug D. So unless you want to, ensure or have you have a question for which you need an answer, and then for that you need to repeat A, B, C again and again and again, there's no valid reason for you to keep repeating the same test, right? Similarly, don't make the same mistake. In fact, I know that James Buck might not agree on this. Yeah, but then that's his thought. My thought is, yeah, it's a crime to make the same mistake. So having discussed the guiding principles, now let's move on to the categories of mistakes again. A little bit more explanation on each of the categories. So the first one, as I told, it's self, related to my habits, attitude, learning, behavior, solely my own mistake. I am responsible for those. Second is the process, loopholes in the system which a few members created, not the loopholes. I mean, they created the system and then we discovered the loopholes. Then those loopholes affected everyone, right? Then the third one is management. I've had experiences where I've directly fought with the management in public in front of everyone, whereas, and it has affected me. So later on, I realized that maybe I could have taken it in private, in a small room and stuff like that. And that's how people learn. At least I learn, right? I first do it and then I learn. Then the fourth category, as I told, is team, how my actions affected my colleagues. Fifth is testing, the mistakes the mistakes encountered when I was testing. Then the last is communication, my interactions with stakeholders, different stakeholders across different platforms, freelancing, communities, online testers, the companies, and stuff like that. So let's talk about the top 6 mistakes, and then we'll talk about the next six mistakes, right? So the first mistake is my aversion or my hatredness towards automation and programming. So in 2006 to 2012, I got a lot of chances to learn about automation, to learn about a programming language. And what did I do? Instead of learning automation and programming, what I used to do is to find bugs in the product which would not be captured through automation, and then point to those people who would share that, hey Ajay, you need to learn about automation programming. I would tell them, see, these is the list of the bugs, this is the list of the bugs which your automation or your programming language knowledge cannot find, hence I'm not going to learn automation or programming, right? So that was my attitude. I mean, it looks silly, but at that time, at that immaturity, I did not realize it. uh, right, I wasted a lot of my years, luckily less than 12 years, uh, following this mistake, not learning about automation, not learning about programming. Um, I did not realize that if I had learned automation and programming, if I had the knowledge of automation and programming, my value as a software tester would have multiplied, would have increased a lot. Um, I would have become a better tester than what I am today. No, I did not realize that. That's the biggest mistake, the biggest regret. I ever would have in my software testing career. Okay, so am I working towards removing that mistake? A big yes, definite yes, right? So I'm working on the latest platform where I'm loving it is the codegym.cc website. The website name is codegym, codegym.cc, codegym.cc, where they are walking us through Java exercises, and it's brilliant. The next mistake is when I lost interest for 5,000 INR. 5,000 INR is like, say, one USD is around 75 INR, right? So you do the calculation. So what was this? So there was a time when in one of the companies I worked for, they used to give quarterly awards: best quality tester award, best team lead, the best what is that, innovation award, the initiative and ideas award, and stuff like that, right? And I and my partner in crime, we always used to win this award, the best idea and innovation award. We used to win, say, alternate quarters. One quarter if I won, the next quarter my friend would win. So, and this continued for a few quarters. And then what did we do is we both worked on a single idea in a particular quarter, and the idea was a great hit, right? It affected a lot of testers in a positive way. The management was happy, and we were very confident that we would get the award once again. But this time what happened, the award was given to both of us. So we said the award would be shared between Ajay and his partner in crime. We were both happy. And so the award had a trophy and 10,000 INR cash prize, right? So now that the award was given to both of us, we got our individual trophies. But instead of 10,000 INR, each one of us got 5,000 INR, right? Now the cash prize was split, because when I talked to the HR told as the award is shared between two people, the cash prize got divided, right? And I was like, can't the company afford additional 10,000 INR? I mean, have we gone so low in their eyes that our effort is not recognized? And similar thoughts came into my mind, and I stopped focusing on innovation. I stopped showing interest, and this affected my performance. And after a few months, I quit, right? So I lost interest for 5,000 INR. So something on these lines. So looking back now, maybe I could have talked to the management, got it sorted. They would have happily given the additional 10,000 INR and stuff like that, right? So this is one of the second mistake in the top 6 list. So the third mistake. So let me just quickly grab the charger. This can be edited later. Okay. So now that we have seen the second mistake where I lost interest for 5,000 INR, the third mistake is I wanted to help everyone. Now, how can this be a mistake? So just imagine people from different time zones trying to reach you, and you are awake to help each one of them. And then once they have got their help, they are gone. They no longer contact you till they need the next set of help from you, right? So your energy is gone, your time is spent there. What are you learning? Not much. It's just one more exercise practice. They are getting benefited a lot, and then they are gone, right? Stuff like that. For the same thing which others are charging money, you're not charging, and because you want to help everyone, and you lose your time and energy. So this was a top mistake. So for example, someone had an interview uh, the coming Monday, and you spend your weekend trying to help them. And after the interview, what do? They don't even update you whether they got selected or rejected and stuff like that. Because yeah, that's it. They've got what they wanted from you. They don't have any obligation to uh, tell you what happened in the interview. Whereas you are more nervous than them. You are more worried about the interview result. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Or someone wants help on a particular topic, you do all the background work, give them the information, and then there is no response. They wanted a straightforward answer, but instead you have given them a brilliant pathway for them to learn more about the topic. They are not interested. They wanted the answer to be spoon fed, which you did not do, but then you spent a lot of time, right? And stuff like that. So wanting to help everyone also was a big mistake on my part. I'm not saying don't help anyone. I'm saying pick the right ones to help. The fourth mistake is not taking care of my health. So 3 contributed to 4. So as I had to be awake across time zones, I did not take care of my sleep schedule. I did not take care of my food. So that affected my health. I used to be awake in the night to talk to testers from the US time zone. I used to get up early so that I could practice testing. And there were times when I used to go to office at say 9 o'clock in the morning, test as per the test cases, or talk to the different teams in the office till 6 p.m. And then from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., continue to stay in the office, test as per my wish, test the same product in a different way, find a lot of bugs, and then come back home by 6 o'clock a.m., 6 a.m. Cab, sleep for an hour, get ready, and then again reach office by 9 a.m. and continue working the second day, and then sleep on my desk by 3:30 p.m. Right. So this kind of schedule continued for many days, few weeks, multiple times in a single month, a single quarter. That affected my health a lot. I started getting neck pain, back pain, right? So please take care of your health. That's more important than testing. The next mistake is I wanted to be a one-man army. So what do I mean by when I say I want to be a one-man army? It's like any project. If there was a tester requirement, I wanted to say I'll be the only tester. I will do the work of multiple testers, but I don't want others in my team. I should be the only tester. Any success, it should be attributed just to me. Any failure, I'm ready to take the blame. I don't want anyone else to share the blame or share the success. So this attitude of mine, one-man army, taught me a lot. At the same time, prevented me from learning a lot as well. I missed learning the power of teamwork in my initial years of my career because I wanted to be a one-man army, right? So yeah, now I've realized the power of teamwork, and I continue to work with big teams. And the next mistake was always having an overflowing cup. Now, what is an overflowing cup? Say if your schedule is packed, it just means your schedule is packed. But even with a packed schedule, you go ahead and volunteer for something extra, then it's like it's overflowing, right? And I used to do this a lot. For a single hour, I used to I used to have meetings with 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 different people of different teams for different topics. And I would be like, I would have to cancel someone's cancel someone's meeting at the last minute, because I had already committed the same time for multiple people. And so my cup was always overflowing. And it's not that I had the other time free and say 6 to 7 p.m. was blocked for 2 people. No, the entire day was blocked. And instead of postponing it to the next day, I would say, no, 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 come, we'll try to finish this meeting quickly and we'll take your meeting and stuff like that. Try to attend a meetup, immediately rush to doing a freelance work, and then immediately the next day attend the company, do a major project, and then evening go read something, go attend a webinar. So it was like fully packed, no rest, affected health right, because I wanted to help everyone. I did not know automation and programming, so I could not use that. So all of these were like, and being a one-man army, all of these affected and were interrelated, and the cup was always overflowing. So these were the top 6 mistakes. The next 6 mistakes, let's see them. So some mistakes were like, I never worked on a single idea. When I say I never worked on an idea, it always stayed in my mind. For example, say I wanted to build a platform where A and B could interact. People from category A could interact and help people from category B for a particular exercise or assignment. I had this idea, right? Okay, now having this idea, what should I have done? I should have worked on it and made it big. No, I did not work on this idea. Now, okay, why am I repenting so much? What would happen? Now that I've not worked on this idea, what would happen is after a few months, someone else would take up this idea, because it's a common problem in testing and stuff like that. Someone would take up this problem, work on this idea, and make it big. And then the whole world would talk about that. And I was like, hey, this was even in my mind, right? I had this idea. And then my conscience would tell me, so what? You never worked on it. And those people worked on it, and that's how they made it big, right? And that was the problem. I never worked on an idea. So there were like multiple ideas which I see in the world now, created by others. And yeah, I have to blame only myself, because I know that I had most of those ideas in my mind, but I couldn't work on it. But there is something which on to save me on my side as well as I can work on a single idea at one time, right? Even though I have 5 ideas, the rest 4 I have to leave. I can't work on 5 ideas at the same time. So I'm okay with having not worked on an particular idea. But again, sometimes I feel that maybe I should have worked on that idea. That is my idea, kind of stuff. The next mistake: did not set expectations. With whom? Say I change companies and I attend different companies, different jobs, and what would happen is there would be a new leader, there would be a new team manager who would assign me the work, right? And there would never have been a discussion. What were they expecting? What was I expecting? Nothing. And the release would go on, and then I would do as per what I would think as testing, and they would expect what they would have been regularly expecting, and there would be a big mismatch. The reason: I did not set expectations. I did not talk about the expectations. The other person did not set expectations and stuff like that. So this mistake costed me a lot in my career. And then I learned that, sorry. Then I learned that, okay, whenever there's a new interaction, it's the first time you're talking with someone or interacting with someone, it's a better idea to, set expectations, have a discussion, and then tell them what you think you are doing or you plan to do, and what they are expecting from you. Both of you, are you in sync or not? The next mistake is, who tested the main use case? So as I told, I was the solo tester, one-man army for many projects. I used to cover a lot of quality criteria, functionality, usability, something on performance, something like using the tools and getting a basic performance report, using some tools and getting a basic security report, accessibility and stuff like that. Tested many different quality criteria, and I was very proud of my testing. Only to realize that the main use case or the main purpose for which the product or the product was built was never tested. I had no idea what was the main use case, so I never tested it. And then the product would go to the customer. The first day, the first usage by the customer, the product would break. And then the product manager, the development, everyone would come back and ask, okay, who tested it? Who tested the main use case? And I would say, which use case? What was the main use case? And I'm totally unaware, right? And then that particular lesson, that particular experience taught me that it's a very good idea to ask people, do they even understand what is the main use case of the product? What is the main use case of the release they are working on? If they don't understand the main use case, there is no point in testing all around the use case and not testing the main use case, right? So if you are leading teams, if you are working with testers, it's a good idea to go ask your testers, are they aware of the main use case? Next, jack of multiple topics. I consider it as a mistake. For example, you can talk on any topic in software testing with me, and I could engage you in a discussion for like 15-20 minutes. Okay, now give me the same topic and ask me to present for 2 hours. Now I would go blank after half an hour, right? Why? Because that's where my depth of the topic ended. Now, why would I consider this as a mistake? In the hunt or in the journey of learning about different topics, I did not spend time on a particular topic in depth. I would touch A/B testing, yes, I know what it is. Accessibility testing, yes. Race condition, yes. Code coverage, yes. Performance testing, yes. Security testing, yes. Throttling, network throttling, yes. We can talk. So we can have a discussion on any of these topics, right? But then if you go deep, okay, explain what is race condition in detail. Okay, how do you visualize it, or how do you say that it was a race condition and it was not anything else? Then I would go like, oh, maybe I don't know, right? So I consider this as a mistake. Then slowly I started specializing in few topics. So yeah, you can also cross check if you are actually a jack of multiple topics and master of none, or you're master of few and being a jack of multiple topics, right? There's a big difference. The next is missed backups. So I'll give you an example, right? I wrote 6 small books. Say I want to edit or update one of the books. I don't have the original Word format with me. What do I have? I just have the final PDF. Now, if I have to edit a PDF, I'll have to rewrite the whole book and then go rewrite the whole book in a Word format and then go ahead and update, right? So why? Because I missed taking backups. I had multiple platforms, Dropbox, email, hard disk, multiple different laptops, different email IDs. So the data would be saved in multiple locations, but there will not be a consolidated platform or an organization of my files, such that okay, if I wanted this particular version of this particular document, here it is. No, I would have to search because I missed taking backups, right? Stuff like that. Next was I got the nickname, or you can say I was called the spy. I'll tell you why I called the spy. So I was in a team, and then the team lead was not with us. He had gone for a break, and then my team member was complaining about some problem, right? So as soon as I saw the team lead, I told that, say, hey, you know what? That person, that team member was facing this problem, right? And then that person now saw the team lead and started telling about the problem. Team lead, I faced this problem. So team lead, instead of listening to the problem, team lead said, yeah, Ajay told everything about the problem, right? Then that was like a shock to the team member. The team member said, you know what? Ajay was here with us and he was listening to everything what we were talking as a spy and told to the team leader, right? So I got the nickname spy. Then I realized sometimes it is very sensitive not to disclose everything to the team lead, or based on the situation, uh, is it really necessary to disclose everything and stuff like that, right? So that was one of the mistakes. So these were the next 6 mistakes, and thereby the dozen mistakes of my software testing career, which I would like to highlight. And the book is already, yes, and the book is 50 plus mistakes of my software testing career. And this is the link, leanpub.com/50 mistakes. Feel free to buy the book if you like the table of contents, and if you like this presentation and you want to know more about the other mistakes, yeah, please feel free to go through the book. And I would like to close with this final slide, which is, say 79% of us are searching jobs, 97% of us are weak in foundations basics, 53% are up to date with the current technology, and 71% of us will believe this slide. Don't believe everything what you see. As a tester, please question. Listen to everyone, but question. Unless you question, unless you're sharp with your questioning skills, critical thinking skills, um, we will not progress as a testing community.